The Visual Arts and Art History by Mayra, Brittany, and Daniella. What is visual arts? Artwork such as painting, photography, or sculpture that appeals primarily to visual sense and typically exists in permanent form. Visual arts is all around us. It is in our classrooms, depicted in posters on the walls. It is on our commute to school or work, within billboards. It is a walk down the street within the city. It is everything that we see. The quote below says, "Art is the activity by which a person having experienced an emotion intentionally transmits it to others." Leo Tolstoy. In the picture below, at first glance, it is a man eating something. But a closer look shows us that it is a man, his teeth are city buildings, and he is eating a tree. And this is a message that shows us that cities are essentially destroying nature, and we are industrializing too often and getting rid of the nature that is around us. Art is here to tell us messages and convey stories. We look at the piece and we feel an emotion. Types of visual art and history. To start off, visual arts comes in many forms. These forms can be ceramics, drawings, painting, sculpture, printmaking, photography, filmmaking, and architecture. These various art forms take time in various periods as well. We have the Idealism period, Realism, Renaissance, Gothic, and so on. For example, the Realism period depicts the picture below, and this period uses dark colors. People during this period were always painted working in a field, doing hard labor. This was no whimsical backgrounds or mystical feelings. You would take a look at this picture and it would be real life, hence realism. What is the importance of visual arts? Art is therapeutic. Art helps us see other perspectives. Art is essential for childhood development, which is critical for classrooms to see children develop through their creativity. Art also gets the message across. In the picture below, we see the woman, and the message on her hand says, "Respect for women is a nationwide problem." Art is used for us to look at the picture and to see the message that she is trying to convey. History of visual arts. Some of the oldest arts can be recorded back to prehistoric cave paintings. The picture below is the oldest picture ever recorded in history, around 40,000 years old. This was found in an Indonesian cave, and in this cave, this is a picture of a pig deer. There would also be human hands on the wall, and it was for a way for them to tell their stories. Continuing on. Below is the different art periods, and different forms of art were created during these periods. We have the Middle Ages, early and high Renaissance, Mannerism, and so on and so forth. During the Mannerism period, this art was created to defy the rules and break the laws. It wasn't typical art that we saw that was just religious. Continuing on, art was most previously used for religious pictures within sculptures as well as painting. We would see sculptures of Jesus and Mary. Most people could not read, so art was the best form of expression to get the point across. The Sistine Chapel ceiling is painted below by Michelangelo, very influential, between 1508 and 1512. This was high Renaissance art, and it is still there today.
Discipline in the visual arts and art history. The visual arts include design, painting, photography, printmaking, sculpture, drawing. I'll first focus on the visual arts aspect. The visual arts provides forms of communication that inform where we have come from and how this has shaped our current place in the world. We communicate visually through visual arts. Visual arts helps us learn to express thoughts, feelings, ideas, and actions in the development and creation of visual artwork. Art history stems from our human capacity to connect and share ideas and experiences across the boundaries of time and space and through chronological, stylistic, or thematic surveys of art. Art history is connected with establishing a relative artistic value upon individual works with respect to others of comparable style or movement. Art history is a historical discipline that focuses on the history and development of visual art forms. The discipline of art history developed in Europe during the colonial period, roughly the 15th to the mid-20th century. Frida Kahlo was full of drama, trauma, and tragedy. At the age of 16, she was involved in a near-deadly streetcar accident, which left her in chronic pain and poor health for the remainder of her life. Due to her childhood accident, she was never able to carry her pregnancies to term. For these hardships, she found deep expression in her vibrant work, which are characterized from her own personal experiences, identity, and sexuality. Pablo Picasso was mainly associated with Cubism and major contributions to symbolism and surrealism. Cubism eventually led him to the invention of collage, which became influential for decades to come. Collage is a big part of today and is used in a lot of computer design programs like Photoshop. Jackson Pollock. I don't know. Oh, there. Jackson Pollock used Surrealism, Cubism, and Impressionism. He was popular for his drip technique. Jackson Pollock's most famous paintings were made during the drip period between 1947 and 1950. He was a major figure in the abstract expressionist movement. Jackson Pollock was also known for developing one of the most radical abstract styles in the history of modern art, which was detaching line from color, redefining the categories of drawing and painting, and finding new means to describe pictorial space.
Why does art look the way it does? Who made it and why? What does it mean? These questions are key when analyzing art and art history. There are lots of different methods to find the answers to these questions. Today we'll be going over 3 methods. The first method is art as a physical object. These are oils, pigments on canvases, carved marbles, woven fibers, ceramics, filmmaking, graphics, and more. These are all made from different mediums. Medium is simply the material used to create a work of art. For example, using metal to cast sculptures or using a brush to pick up paint and transfer it onto a canvas. As you are analyzing art, you can identify when and where a work of art was made by looking at the techniques that were used. Every material has a different property that can create different effects, such as putting pieces of stained glass together and creating breathtaking images. By knowing the physical objects and their medium, you are able to identify when, where, and why, and how they were made. Luckily, now we have technology, which makes art analyzing materials and techniques much easier for art historians and anyone who wants to know the history of an art piece. The second method is art as a visual experience. This is mainly used by art historians, and it focuses on historical context and interpretations of meaning. Visual analysis includes the elements of art such as shape, form, tone, texture, patterns, color, and composition. By analyzing these elements, we can identify the impressions of a work of art. For example, the image shows the use of the element composition by using leading lines that will make the viewer's eyes go to the main subject in the work of art. In this case, it's the woman with the umbrella. There is also different periods, which were mentioned in the beginning of the PowerPoint, that represent a style of art. Each of these periods are helpful when analyzing the styles of art used by different artists and to understand when and where they created their art. The third is art as a cultural artifact. This helps historians analyze the cultural significance of the work of art. This is a way to understand the subject matter or meaning of an art piece. Historians and others can study the historical context of the art by comparing texts and other imagery from that period of time. Now we'll go over social justice in art. Visual arts can be used to communicate politics and social justice issues. There are social issues such as religious conflicts, lack of education, opportunity inequality, and even food and water issues. Nowadays, people are always on social media, so it's an easy and quick way to share social justice issues. Art activism is overall a great way to promote social change and social issues.
I will be discussing ways that visual arts and art history use issues of creativity in its questions, methods, and practice. This can be done through a method of physical objects. This method, as before stated, is a physical way of showing an art piece. Wrongly. Same thing with context. If you don't understand the context of an art piece, it can affect the agenda it has and lose its purpose. Same reason as the slide before, that while an art piece has an agenda that is not factually based, it's open to interpretation and that could lead to better things. By understanding the agenda of an art piece, you are able to further your ideas and opinions based on that agenda. From understanding the art piece's agenda and context, you are able to be affected in a better way than if you didn't. And this concludes our presentation. Thank you.